Well, it truly was a lucky number 7 indeed, as I had another pretty strong week and a week that I thought was pretty tough to figure out, but I won't complain about a 10 and 5 record. I'll take that any day. 10 and 5 is good, and over the past couple weeks it looks like I've gotten my groove back. It looks like I am catching some fire right now. 65 and 42 on the season. And let's keep it going, man. What's going on, everybody? I am Mac, back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link down in the box below. These are my Week 8 picks of the 2024 NFL season. As I just said, really solid week in Week 7 again, as it looks like I'm catching my stride, and there are no teams on the bye week this week. We have a full schedule. Everyone plays. And this week, I look to have another strong week. There are a lot of favorable matchups this week, in my opinion. So let's get on to it, man. These are my Week 8 picks of the 2024 NFL season. Starting with Thursday Night Football, as always, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Rams in Inglewood, as the Vikings suffered their first loss of the season, a tough 31-29 loss to the Detroit Lions at home. The Rams finally got off the schneid and defeated the Vegas Raiders 20-15. But despite that, the Rams just really didn't look all that good, in my opinion. They look like they are still suffering from the injuries they have. They just don't look too sharp to start off the season. And the thing with me about the Rams is that, you know, Cooper Kupp is expected to play Thursday night, as he's been injured for basically the whole season, but he's also been on the market for a trade, and I think that's just been a distraction right now for the Rams. While the Vikings, I mean, sure, it kind of seems like they could have that inevitable fall off, like, all the times that they've started 5-0, and maybe Sam Darnold has lost a little bit in his groove a little bit, but going up against this Rams team, seeing how depleted they are, seeing that the advantages lean in the Vikings' favor, I'm going to lean towards Minnesota to win this one, to rebound after that tough loss they took to Detroit, take advantage of an undermanned Rams team that are coming off that are coming off a win against, a dysfunctional organization. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Vikings to get back on track. So give me Minnesota here. Then we got my personal game of the week right here. I had this being another matchup right here for my game of the week, but I'll explain, a little bit when I get to it. But I think this is a good substitute. Philadelphia Eagles at the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati, as the Eagles are coming off a dominant win over the Giants in MetLife, 28-3. Yeah, never heard that one before, didn't you? But yeah, Philly won big, 28-3. How about Saquon Barkley going off on his old team? 176 yards for Barkley on 17 carries, as he just demolished the Giants, who I thought had a really tough defense going in that game, and that just proved to not be the case. But then you take a look at the Cincinnati Bengals. They defeated the Browns in Cleveland 21-14. Even though the Bengals did have, that win, they really were kind of underwhelming offensively again. They had the 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to open up the game. Literally, that, they took the opening kickoff for a score. But other than that, I wasn't really impressed with Cincinnati's offense all that much. And I hardly even count the last touchdown the Browns had, because it was in garbage time and the Bengals had that game in the bag. So to me, it's going to be a matchup of which offense is going to show up better for this matchup here. And I think both these offenses here are definitely capable of putting up a lot of points and putting up a lot of yards. So with me, Philly, they got to go run heavy again. The Bengals need to predicate their defense game plan around stopping Saquon Barkley. And then, of course, you got Jamar Chase for the Bengals. And that is a big mismatch right there because Philly's pass defense has been incredibly sus since about midway through last year. So, really, I think this is one of those 50-50 matchups here, a matchup that I definitely think can go either way. So I'm going to go with my usual shtick, and I'm going to go ahead and take the home team to win this one because I am unsure of who to go with. I'm going to take Cincinnati here simply because, Joe Burrow, he's gotten off to a hot start to the season. He's using his weapons like he usually does. And I just think at the end of the day, my X factor is going to be that passing offense for the Bengals against Philly's pass defense, which is really prone to giving up a lot of big plays. Not that Philly can't put up a big fight with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but I think if they run the ball with Barkley for as good as it is, the Bengals will eventually catch on to that, and it'll be one-dimensional. I think the Bengals can just beat Philly, more than Philly can win this one. So I'm going to go with the Bengals to win a shootout, basically, over the Eagles. Next, we got an easy one. We got the Ravens and the Browns in Cleveland. As the Ravens, a 41-31 win over the Bucs. Lamar went off once again. Offense, clicking in sync for the Ravens as they've won 5 straight. The Cleveland Browns are just flat out miserable. Lost at home to the Bengals. Deshaun Watson out for the season with a torn Achilles, and the doctor even said that it could be career ending. The Browns are down so bad in this game, man. And even DTR left that game with an injury. So who do the Browns start at QB in this game? Did they go with Jameis Winston? Or do they even do Bailey Zappe because they just picked him up today? The Browns have like no cohesion whatsoever, and they have nothing going for them and no momentum whatsoever. So this is an easy one here, right here. I'm going to go Ravens all day. Lamar's going to have a field day against him. Derrick Henry is going to run hog wild on the Browns in this one, and Cleveland just does not stand a chance in this one. I'm going to go Ravens all day to get the job done over Cleveland and make it 6 in a row. Another easy one up next. We got the Titans and the Lions in Detroit as the Titans, despite what they can do defensively, despite the fact that their defense has kept them in basically every game this year, they just cannot get anything going offensively, no matter if it's Will Levis or Mason Rudolph playing for them, as that showed against Buffalo. They had time and time and time again to get something going against the Bills, and it's no shock that the Titans gave up that many points because when your offense can't help out your defense, what do you expect to have your defense do? They're busting their ass out there, and the offense just can't get anything going. So it's no shock the Titans are in the situation that they're in right now. And then you take a look at their opponent in the Detroit Lions, handing Minnesota their first loss of the season. And the Lions look like a legit Super Bowl contender, and I'll even go as far as say they're the best team in the NFC right now. So again, no brainer. Give me Detroit. I don't see any reasonable way anyone can pick Tennessee for this game. Sure, the defense may come up with a couple of nice stops and a couple of nice moments, but Detroit's offense is just way too overwhelming. And with the Lions being able to run the ball the way they do and Amon-Ra St. Brown going off, and with the way that Jared Goff is just clicking so well with this offense and Detroit's defense stepping up a little bit right here with a non-existent Tennessee offense, I don't see how the Titans get the job done. Their only win of the season was against the Dolphins, who didn't have Tua in that game. I'm going Detroit. No brainer right here. Give me the Lions all day. And speaking of the Dolphins, they're next up as they are hosting the Arizona Cardinals this Sunday, as the Cardinals are coming off a Monday night win against the Chargers, in which the Cardinal defense didn't allow a single touchdown. That's right. LA just kicked 5 field goals, and that was it. So the Cardinals are coming off a win over the Chargers, while the Dolphins are coming off a 16-10 loss to the Indianapolis Colts, a game in which the Dolphins, they had their chances to get something going, but they, again, just really couldn't get things going once again. However, I have heard that Tua is in line to play this game, as this is his first week of eligibility to play. And I also heard that he's not going to be wearing the Guardian cap as well, which is really concerning if you're a Dolphin fan or if you're just a Tua fan in general. Why is that? Because what if he gets another concussion? I think he should go Guardian cap in this game, man. It's his health. It's his gamble ace taken out there, you know, and I'd literally hate to see him get another concussion. So I think Tua playing in this game is going to spark some kind of confidence for Miami in this game offensively, because like I keep saying, I do think Tua is very overrated. But let's be honest, guys, the Dolphins offense is just putrid without him. Like their offense is as useless as filling up a hamper with holes in it with water, or trying to fill up a colander in the sink with water. It's useless, you know. So that's Miami right there. But then you take a look at the Cardinals, and despite the record that they have, the Cardinals, I keep saying it, they are capable of pulling off an upset or two with the offense that they have. And I don't know if Marvin Jr. is eligible to play in this game because he's been dealing with concussions as well. I really don't think that matters, because as long as James Conner gets the bulk and Miami can't stop the run and their defense can't do anything, Arizona can really have some sort of spark as far as offense goes. And I trust that the defense can probably take advantage of a rusty Tua coming in this game. And, you know, a lot of people are saying that the Dolphins are finally going to get on the board and they're finally going to have a nice offensive game because Tua's back. I don't see it that way. And that's why the Cardinals are actually my upset of the week. Miami is favored to win this game, despite the fact that they have a worse record than the Cardinals do. So I'm going to call this my upset of the week. I'm going to go Arizona to win this game, pull off the upset over the Dolphins, and get back to 4-4 in that NFC West. That is just really hard to decipher right now. I really don't think there's really a good team in the NFC West right now, and that's a letdown because I thought the NFC West was going to be one of the stronger divisions this year. But, you know, Arizona, I think they can take advantage of it, and I'm going to go with them pulling off the upset over the Dolphins. Now we got my toilet bowl of the week. We got the Jets at the Patriots. Second week in a row, the Pats have been in a toilet bowl on my channel. As the Jets, you know the story with them. They went into Pittsburgh on Sunday night, and we carved them up 37-15. Devontae Adams, his first game as a Jet, didn't really go so well. 4 catches, 34 yards. His best play of the night was a play that had nothing to do with him catching a football. It was him tackling Beanie Bishop at the 1 to prevent a pick six. And speaking of that, Aaron Rodgers, 2 interceptions, both of them to Beanie Bishop. So the Jets continue their downward spiral, and they're playing the team that they're playing the team that they last got a W against, ironically, which was the Patriots on that Thursday night game. I believe it was back in week 3, if I'm not mistaken. So that's been the story with the Jets. Since then, they fired their head coach. They acquired Devontae Adams for a 3rd-round conditional pick. And the Jets just have nothing going for them. They're down 4 defensive backs in this game. And all things are pointed for the Jets to just punting this season. Aaron Rodgers going out having the worst season of his career. And the Jets just starting from square one once again and missing the playoffs for the 14th consecutive season. Then you take a look at the Patriots. I mean, they're no better. As a matter of fact, I think they're way worse. They're 1-6. They've dropped 6 straight games since winning week 1 against the Bengals, which I still don't know how they did. And despite Drake May looking a little bit better in that game against Jacksonville, the Patriots just have no rhythm on offense whatsoever. Gerard Mayo is not turning out to be the guy for the Pats as head coach goes and the successor to Belichick. Not that finding a successor to Belichick is easy, but Gerard Mayo is just not getting the job done over there in Beantown. So that's why this is my toilet bowl of the week easily. So I'm going to probably go with the team that I think just has somewhat of an identity, and that's going to be the Jets in this matchup right here. I can't even remember the last time the Jets swept the Patriots. It had to have been back in that 2000 season because basically, if you want to take a look at any kind of benchmark for when the Patriots were awful, basically go to pre-Kraft or the 2000 season. I don't remember the last time the Jets swept the Patriots, but I'm going to say they do it this year, snap their losing streak, and get some kind of rhythm going here. Because, the Jets defense, even though they're down those 4 defensive backs, they still have a defense that can cause pressure and they can stop the run and they can bring pressure on you. So I don't think Drake May is going to be ready for that. I'm going to go with the Jets to complete the sweep over the Patriots in Foxborough. This matchup here, if it happened last week, this definitely would be my candidate for rivalry of the week. But looking at it now, I really don't think I'm going to give it that. We got the Falcons and the Bucs down in Tampa Bay as the Falcons are coming off getting beat up at home by the Seahawks 34-14. Very rough day for the Falcons as they just had no answer at all for the Seahawks. Not that I think that it's going to define Atlanta's season, but they're just coming off a miserable day in Atlanta. And, that was a game that I thought the Falcons could have won, and I thought it was going to be a way better game than what it was, but that's the NFL for you any given Sunday. But the Bucs, they lost at home to the Ravens by 10. And you look at that game and it suggests that it was a slugfest and it was a shootout, but no, it wasn't really. Mike Evans got hurt in that game, even though he opened up the scoring for the Bucs. He did not come back in the game. And then Roquan Smith had that really nasty hit on Chris Godwin that injured his leg. And Chris Godwin is definitely going to be out for this game. Mike Evans possibly could be out for this game. But we know how Mike Evans is. He's built different. He's been very durable in the league. And I wouldn't put my money on saying Mike Evans is going to be out for this game, even though that he did. But you look at that score and you think that the Bucs were in it the whole time. No, they were down. They were down by as many as 24 in that game. And then they got a bunch of garbage time points to make it look closer than what it was. The Ravens just had their way with the Bucs all night. And while I do think that if Mike Evans was in the game, the Bucs could have possibly won that game, the fact is their defense just continues to suck against the pass, and their defense just continues to give up big chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. And it's not going to be any easier going up against the Falcons because when these two teams met about 3 weeks ago, Kirk Cousins threw for over 500 yards against them. So I am, Atlanta, they're prone to giving up some big plays as well. But I'm going to lean more towards the team that I think I can trust more defensively. And right now, that's Atlanta. If Mike Evans didn't get hurt and if Chris Godwin was healthy, I would actually pick Tampa Bay to avoid the sweep of Atlanta. But just the fact that both those guys have a possibility of not playing in those games, because like I said, Godwin is unquestionably going to be out for this game. Mike Evans could be out, but I wouldn't put my money on him missing this game because we know how durable he is. But Atlanta, I think they're going to have another strong offensive showing, and I think they're going to take advantage of either Mike Evans not being in there or him not being at 100%. So I'm going to lean towards Atlanta getting the season sweep of the Bucs and taking care of business once again. Next up, we got the Green Bay Packers and the Jacksonville Jaguars down in Jacksonville, as the Packers are coming off a comeback win over the Texans. They got it done on a last-second field goal, as another strong outing for the Packers offense, and they are 5-2, right in the swing of things in the NFC North. The top 3 teams in that division all have 5 wins. So winning in that division is crucial for anybody. And then Jacksonville, they are completely dysfunctional. They have no idea what they're doing. Don't let that win against New England fool you. The Pats are a dumpster fire as well. And Jacksonville, they had, their best game of the season. Even, I would say it was even better than their Colts win, but that's really not saying much because New England sucks. So, long story short, this is going to be my spread of the week. I'm taking Green Bay easily here. I may be exaggerating with the score a little bit just because I want some points in the tournament, but honestly, looking at it from a standpoint, I really don't think you can call it exaggerating because Jacksonville is just so bad and Green Bay is just riding with a lot of momentum right now. So I'm going Green Bay to win this one 40-7. I think they cover the 4.5 easily in this one. I think they take advantage of a terrible Jacksonville defense, and the offense just continues to have strong showing after strong showing. So I'm going to go Green Bay to win big here. Then we got the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. This one is down in Houston. These two met back in week 1, and it lived up to advertised as the Texans won a very close game over the Colts. But you fast forward weeks later now, and Indy still has a quarterback dilemma, as I really don't know what the smarter choice for this matchup as far as QB goes for the Colts. They got the job done over the Dolphins, sure, but I really don't know if I can trust Anthony Richardson at this point just because of his health and because I really think Joe Flacco is the better choice for quarterback right now for the Colts. He's just been more productive. But Houston, they don't have that problem whatsoever. CJ Stroud is just continuing to play well. He continues to turn heads in the NFL. And, in a league that features quarterbacks like Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, nowadays Jaden Daniels, nowadays Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, the big names out there. In a league full of players like that, CJ Stroud is like saying, hey, don't forget about me. I was rookie of the year last year. So there's a lot to like with Houston. And I think they complete the sweep of the Colts here because, like I said, I just trust Houston more in this matchup here. The Colts had trouble putting away a Dolphins team that has no offensive production when Tua's not playing. And now they're going up against a firepower offense that the Texans have that's led by CJ Stroud. I just think this is a disaster written all over it for the Colts right here. And I think Houston comes away and completes the sweep of Indianapolis here. Later slate of games. First up, we got the Saints at the Chargers. This one is also in Inglewood, as the Saints, they are coming off getting whacked at home by the Denver Broncos last Thursday, 33-10, as Sean Payton got his win in his first game back in the Superdome. And the Saints, what a turnaround it's been for them in the bad way. They started off 2-0, 91 points in those 2 games, and the offense has gone completely stale since then. And their defense has just been getting destroyed left and right. And the Saints have now dropped 5 straight, and they're 2-5. And don't look now, but all of a sudden, they're only just 1 game better than the Carolina Panthers, who they blew the hell out in week 1. And then you look at the Chargers, they're coming off a Tough loss to the Cardinals on Monday night. As I mentioned earlier, the Chargers only kicked 5 field goals against Arizona. They couldn't find the end zone. But I don't think the Chargers are going to have a problem in this one here. I got LA winning this one easily. Why? Because even though the Saints are on the 3-day rest, and I usually give the advantage to the team that played on Thursday, I don't think it matters. If you can't stop the run, and if your defense has just been getting gashed left and right, and you can't do anything offensively, you're not a good team. As I think this needs to be the final straw for Dennis Allen. He's just not a good head coach. And they should shut down Derek Carr for the rest of the season and just give Spencer Rattler the green light to go. You know, if you took him in the draft that early, then you're obviously seeing something in him to be your guy. But I think LA is going to run all over the Saints in this one. I think their run game is going to come back to life here. And I think that they can have a strong outing as far as the pass game goes here. The Saints just look completely unconfident right now. So I'm going to go LA to win this one here. We got another really good one up in Seattle right now as we got the Buffalo Bills and the Seattle Seahawks, as the Bills are coming off a 34-10 win over the Tennessee Titans, and they are 5-2. So they've now won 2 straight since dropping 2 straight. And the Bills are back in first in the AFC East. They're pretty much going to run away with that division. You know, I don't see anyone catching Buffalo in the East right now. The Dolphins, they had their chance, but I don't trust them with or without Tua at this point. The Jets are just the Jets, and the Patriots are just going through a painful rebuild. So Buffalo, they're going to run away with the AFC East, you know, kind of by default. I don't see anyone catching them. And then the Seahawks, they are 4-3, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. As I said a couple minutes ago, they destroyed the Falcons in Atlanta 34-14, but at what cost? DK Metcalf got injured in the game, and for this injury, he's listed as week to week, as knee injuries are vital if you're a wide receiver. So Seattle's down their best target right now. Not that I think the Seahawks don't have a chance now because DK Metcalf is listed as week to week, but Seattle also runs the ball very efficiently. And I think they're really going to test Buffalo as far as their defense goes in this one. If the Seahawks are to have a chance at winning this game, I think they really got to go run heavy here. And the thing that kind of decides this game for me personally, I just don't trust Seattle's defense. The Seahawks defense is the definition of bipolar. Like in one game they look like they're the second coming of the Legion of Boom, and then they follow it up with having a performance where their defense doesn't look like it even belongs in the NFL. So you never know what to expect fully with Seattle's defense, whereas with Buffalo's offense, they're going to at least get, something going offensively, and that's my deciding factor for this matchup personally. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win this one here over the Seahawks and improve to 6-2 and win their third straight. Like I said, I think Seattle can keep it a close game. I think the Seahawks can keep up with the pass game, but in the end, I'm going to go with who I trust more as far as an offense versus defense standpoint goes, and that's the Bills offense against the Seahawks defense. I'm taking Buffalo to win this one. Then we got the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos, a rematch of Super Bowl 50 in Mile High. And once again, to keep it short, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. The Panthers, they have no idea what they're doing. I will say, I hope Andy Dalton's okay, though, because he got in a car accident today. And if I'm the Panthers, I would bench him for this game and let him get healthy if he got hurt. I don't know the full status. I just know that he got in a car accident. So I think you give Bryce Young this week, and then you see how Andy Dalton's going for the weeks ahead. But regardless of who the Panthers start in this game, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. The Broncos got a really tough defense over there in Denver, and it looks like Bo Nix is starting to figure it out a little bit. I wouldn't sleep fully on the Broncos. I don't think they'll make the playoffs this season, but you never know. I definitely would. I definitely would not sleep on them. I just think if the offense develops a little bit more and Bo Nix really does start to put things together, I think Denver can really be a dark horse team in the AFC. So, yeah, I'm going to go Denver to win a relatively easy one here. Then we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders. This one is in Vegas. And once again, short, sweet, to the point, Kansas City's my lock of the week. Ironically, the Raiders are the last team to beat the Chiefs, as the last time these two teams played was on Christmas Day last year, and the Raiders upset them at Arrowhead, and the Chiefs have not lost a game since then. And I think with Kansas City coming off their bye and their offense having a really good showing against the 49ers on Sunday, I think that's going to be a big momentum booster for the Kansas City Chiefs in this matchup here, as the Chiefs defense continues to stack things up. They continue to be very productive. They continue to limit teams, while the Raiders, they're completely dysfunctional. The Raiders have lost every single bit of momentum that they ever had coming into the season. Aiden O'Connell's out, and they're looking at starting Desmond Ridder for this game. Plus, when's the last time Patrick Mahomes lost to an AFC West team on the road? I can actually answer that. It was against the Broncos last year. But other than that, that's the only time that I can recall that Mahomes has lost a road AFC West game. I see no reason for that, to be the case again. I'm going Kansas City as my lock of the week. This is another no-brainer. This could have been my game of the week right here. It really could have. But as I said in my Eagles-Bengals segment, the factor that took it away from being my game of the week is the fact that Jaden Daniels is listed as week to week for Washington, but he's now more doubtful that he's going to play in this game. But you got the Bears and the Commanders in DC. You got a 4-2 team going up against a 5-2 team. As I said, the headline, Jaden Daniels hurt his ribs against Carolina. He is doubtful in this game despite being as listed as week to week. So you're looking at starting Marcus Mariota in this game. And to his credit, Marcus Mariota did have a good game against the Panthers. But I mean, come on, it's the Panthers. They're possibly the worst team in the NFL. So I'm not, pumping my chest about that one if I'm a Washington fan. I will say if I'm a Washington fan, I would be very reliant on the run game in this one right here if you're not starting Jaden Daniels in this game. But regardless, they're going up against a Chicago team that's 4-2. They have a really stingy defense that can match the run very well. Caleb Williams continues to get better and better as the weeks go by, and he's really living up to par as being the first overall pick in the draft. He's playing as advertised. And to top things off, the Bears are coming off their bye week. I just think that the Chicago Bears just have more advantages in this game than Washington does. And that's why I'm going to lean towards Chicago in this one. If Jaden Daniels played in this game, I probably would have went Washington. But even then, I'd be a little unsure of it just because of the way Chicago's played defensively this year. But now that you're starting Marcus Mariota in this game, more likely than not, I got no doubt that the Bears are most likely going to win this game. So I'm going to go Chicago here. I think Caleb Williams slices up Washington's defense. I do think Washington can make it somewhat interesting if they get the run game involved and if Marcus Mariota shows that his game against Carolina wasn't a blip. But regardless, I'm going to go Chicago to win this one and improve to 5-2. Who thought I'd be saying that about the Bears? Sunday Night Football. Check your local listings in San Francisco as we got the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers. Second year in a row, this matchup is on Sunday Night Football. And, you know the headlines. I mean, these two have met in the playoffs in 2021 and 2022. The 49ers won both matchups. 49ers have just completely owned the Cowboys lately as they've won 3 straight against Dallas, and really all 3 of those games were decisive for the 49ers. Don't let the scores fool you. San Francisco dominated them. And last night on Sunday Night Football, it was no exception as a 42-10 win for the 49ers on Sunday night last year. But the Niners do come into this game with a lot of concerning headlines. And that's why it robs it for me for being my rivalry of the week. So there's going to be no rivalry of the week for me this week. So the headlines are, guess what? The 49ers are really banged up coming into this one. Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL. He's out for the season. So Steeler fans, are you happy we didn't get him now? Not that I'm knocking at him or anything. I hope that God he recovers well and he's able to play next year. But Steeler fans, aren't you happy we didn't spend all that draft capital on him now? He tore his ACL. He's out for the season. And when he comes back next year, do you think that he can be the same player? ACLs are very difficult to come back from. So aren't you glad that we didn't go for Brandon Ayuk now? Funny how that works. And as if that's not enough for the 49ers, Deebo Samuel got hospitalized, and now George Kittle is hurt. So there go the 49ers' 3 best players on offense. Right there. Not playing to doubtful to play in this game. CMC has a, quote, long shot of playing in this game as well. But I'm not even going to consider that. I'm not going to say CMC is going to start. So that's the deal with San Francisco right there. They have a ton of injuries in this game right here as it kind of reminds me of their week 3 matchup against the Rams. But then you take a look at the Cowboys and they aren't exactly healthy either. Sure, the Cowboys are coming off their bye, and I think their bye week couldn't have come at a better time for them because the Cowboys have just been really struggling all season. And their only convincing win was against the Cleveland Browns. And I mean, come on, the Browns suck, But Dallas, they're dealing with a lot of injuries as well. Parsons is listed as unknown for this game. And of course, they still have the tons of injuries on defense that's really going to make the difference as far as offense versus defense goes. But I still think I'm going to go with San Francisco nonetheless. Why? Because Jordan Mason's been a nice story for the 49ers this season. And while the 49ers are banged up on offense, their defense is still relatively healthy. And Dak Prescott, as we've seen in the past, he doesn't do well against high-octane defenses that are capable of causing a lot of pressure. And that's what the 49ers do up front. That's their bread and butter defensively. Like I said, Dallas is coming off their bye. I think that serves an advantage for them, but they're playing their boogeyman for this one. Until the Cowboys show to me that they can beat the 49ers, I'm going to take San Francisco to beat them in this particular matchup every time. So I'm going to go San Francisco to continue their dominance of the Cowboys and improve to 4-4. I think San Francisco really needs this matchup here. I mean, both teams really need this matchup here because, like I said, the NFC East is up for, while I think Washington's the best team in the NFC East, do you really think it's on lock now because Jaden Daniels could miss this week? But then you take a look at that NFC West. That one's wide open. I'm going to say San Francisco wins this one here. And wrapping up week 8, we got my matchup on Monday Night Football. The New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers going at it at Heinz Field. The Giants are 2-5, and they played unquestionably their worst game of the season on Sunday, a 28-3 loss at home to Philly. as the Giants never stood a chance in that game. As I said earlier, Saquon Barkley just torched his old team. 176 yards on the ground for him on 17 carries. And the Giants, like I said, it was easily their worst game of the season. They got nothing going on offense. Daniel Jones is not the guy. Daniel Jones continues to stink up the joint for the Giants. Malik Neighbors is a good young receiver who can cause a lot of separation, which I think can serve an advantage for the Giants in this game right here if he's able to beat matchups with JPJ, who I think is going to be on him in this matchup. More of this in my pregame. But overall, the Giants are just completely depleted, and they're just a really dysfunctional organization as well. So that's the deal with the Giants. I will say they're tough defensively, especially with Dexter Lawrence. But really, him and Malik Neighbors are the only bright spots that the Giants have, in my opinion. They're just a terrible team. And that's the thing with the Giants right there. They're competitive. They have capabilities of being competitive. But to me, they just seem to do enough to not lose. But unlike the Giants, unlike the Steelers, the Giants just don't have that offensive explosion that they can have to overcome that. Meanwhile, you take a look at us, we're 5-2 on the season. Back-to-back weeks of not only putting 30 plus on the board, but back-to-back weeks of convincing wins and dominant wins. When's the last time you could say that about the Steelers? Ain't happened in a while. And like I said, as Steeler fans, we're not really used to that. Russell Wilson, amazing debut for the Steelers. He passed for 264 yards. He had 3 total touchdowns. Another great game for Najee Harris. Steeler defense coming away with 2 interceptions on Aaron Rodgers. And, both of them were by Beanie Bishop. And then we had 2 block punts in that game. Screw that leverage call. Even the officials said that they got that call incorrect. We had 2 block field goals in that game. I don't care what anybody says. But it was a great win against the New York Jets. We pitched a shutout against them in the second half. And the Steelers are 5-2. We're really looking to make a statement in the AFC. And we're right there with Baltimore. The thing that separates us and the Ravens is that the Ravens have a divisional win. That's it. And it doesn't help either because the Ravens play another divisional game this week, and we don't have our first divisional game against, ironically, the Ravens after our bye week. But that's the only thing that's separating us from the Ravens. Other than that, we're right there with them. And we're playing another weak team. We're playing another team that I think we should dominate in this one. The Steelers always play well at home on Monday Night Football. I see no reason for us to lose this game. Yeah, I'm this confident that we're going to win this game. I mean, I'm not locking us up. I'm not saying that we're going to, drop 30 plus again, but I think we can win this game. I think Russ should start this game. The Giants' pass defense is incredibly suspect at giving up a lot of big plays. And I think Russell Wilson, he needs to cook again like he did against the New York Jets. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident we walk away with this win in convincing fashion again. And the Giants, I mean, they just got no traction. They may be able to keep it somewhat competitive, but in the end, I think that we just overwhelm the Giants with our offense. And I think our defense steps up to par here and we get the dub. Again, more in my pregame. But I'm taking my guys to make it 3 in a row. So give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this one and go into our bye week at 6-2. That'll do it. Those are my Week 8 picks of the 2024 NFL season. Let's make it a hat trick, man. Let's make it 3 straight weeks of winning 10 or more. And let's just have another strong week, man. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm Mac, checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.